Kimbo, Kimbo, Natatan Zambi and Mama Ndombe. Siami family, Mbote, Saubona. Welcome to another teaching. And we thank each and every one of you for being with us. We thank those of you here on Zoom for being with us. Our family, the community, welcome everyone. Welcome. It's good to see you. All right. So we have a beautiful, awesome discussion today. Um, okay. Can you all hear me? Can you hear me okay?
Maybe, yeah, there you go.
It
All
cuts
right. Is
in
that
and
better?
out.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Awesome.
way better.
Awesome. All right. Sammy, everybody.
Mhm.
we have a
Sammy.
we have an awesome discussion on today, and I'm going to share uh, the screen with Mama Brenda, and we're going to get into this discussion. It is new heavens and new earth, and we're going to open up some eyes here and some understanding. All right, so I'm going to turn it over to Mama Brenda right now.
Sammy, Sammy, everybody. It's been a while since I've done a teaching.
I mean,
um, I'm gonna need my sound so I can have my sound effect. So it's on my computer.
Oh,
So
to
I got it turned down, remember? Muted and turned down. So they're not gonna hear it. So
I can't mute this because of the mic.
okay. We'll figure it out. So I'm gonna need everybody's participation in this. Um, it involves us, and it's something that we need to discuss and talk about. Uh, there's no right and wrong answers or wrong comments or whatever. Whatever. These are just something that I think we need to talk about. We need to start talking about these things, family. We need to have a family meeting and discuss. We have a lot to discuss. I'm not saying today, but I'm talking about overall. We as a family, we have a lot to discuss. So with that being said, I gotta go here and take on the share. I forgot. You shared it, right? Okay. So let me go to Zoom here. All right, here we go. Okie dokie. So as Zombie said, we're going to be talking about new heaven and new earth. Now I got to get out of it. Let me see. A new heaven and a new earth. So
Can y'all hear her okay?
okay.
there's an echo.
So see.
Mhm.
Let me do it on your computer.
What you mean?
I can send it via okay. All right. Well, we're gonna talk about new. I had some sound effect, you all, in here. So new heavens and new earth is what we're gonna talk about. We know that this passage is in the Bible, and the way they have taught this in organized religion is inaccurate. It's not correct. We understand and know that. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So let me we know that they have taken our scrolls and plagiarized it and corrupted it, added, changed, did all kinds of things to it. And so it takes the Most High and our righteous Bakulus giving us that insight on what is true and what is not. That is why it's critical and so important that we align ourselves and be connected to the Most High and our righteous Bakulus of the light, especially during this time, with the time that we're living in, so that we can get the revelation and the truth and understanding, because there's so many things that are out there flying around. They know that we are awakening, and they are using still our people to try to deter us from who we are as a people, where we're from, etc., etc. You all know that. So I want to go over some passages here first. And the first one is Isaiah 65:17. And it says, "For behold, I create new heavens and a new earth, and the former shall not be remembered or come to mind." And Isaiah 66:22 says, "For as the new heavens and the new earth which I will make shall remain before me, says the Most High, so shall your descendants and your name remain." Now, those of you all that were in organized religion, we know that they talked about the new heavens and the new earth a lot in religion. What were some of the things that you were taught, that you remember, heard about this particular passage? What did they teach about a new heaven and a new earth?
They mentioned the fact that this John saw this new heaven, this new earth coming down from heaven and landing down on the earth, and there they said that our heavenly Father would be there with us and dwell with us and would be the light. And so that's basically what I remember.
Okay.
Yeah, all I remember, which was some time ago, is that the new heaven is going to come down on the earth now. That, you know, the earth that we presently live on, and it's going to turn into a new earth.
Okay.
So, now, how in the world they figure that out, that a heaven is going to come down on earth? It's ridiculous.
Well, now that we know what we know, yeah, it
Yeah.
does sound ridiculous, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Has anyone been taught like we have, Brenda and I, that this earth would burn up and the heavens would be destroyed and a new earth and new heaven would be created?
Yes, yes. And then they also talked about a new Jerusalem coming down.
Mm-hmm.
So how many things are coming down? Got a new Jerusalem, the earth's gonna be burnt up, and then a new heavens coming down. I mean, what explain that to me.
Make it make sense.
I always question. My question had always been, if this earth and heaven was going to be destroyed, where would we be as Christians?
Right, right.
Okay.
Right.
And again, that was when we were in church.
Yeah.
So that's why I say it Christians. Okay.
Right.
So nobody thinking anything. But
so why does earth is being destroyed, we're like put somewhere in a capsule or something like that, and then we wait for the new heaven to come down on the earth. Are we watching this? I mean, they never really gave us details about what they thought was going to happen.
right.
Right. And then they talked about the Christians would go up in the rapture, and we'd have this bride's feast of the marriage of the Lamb, and we'd be there 7 years. And I'm thinking, well, maybe this new earth will be destroyed during the 7-year period, and then we'll go back. Why are we going up and down, back and forth? It don't make no sense. We're just traveling back and forth, back and forth.
And the clothes that we have on is going to drop off of us. And then we go up, white robes are going to appear on our body as we.
They got songs about that. I'm gonna put on your tell
My
the
goodness.
story how I made it over. Y'all remember that?
Yeah.
Yes. I can't believe I believed that nonsense.
Me too, I was preaching it.
So you all make a valid point. They taught us so many different things and we didn't think about it. Me and Ms. Zombie was talking a couple of days ago, just talking about some of the nonsense, and I kept saying, just make it make sense. And we'll say something else. I said, just sense. So this makes sense. They also told us nobody had said, well, Nigel, what you got to say about that rapture? Maybe you would say it. You want to talk?
Oh no. I have nothing to say. No, I was just gonna say that used to be my song back in the day, and that was the song that they played at funerals a lot too.
Yes, they did.
Yes.
They did.
Still do.
Yep.
They still-
Yep, you're right.
I think he missed the question. Did you hear the question, Elder?
No,
He wasn't there.
Okay, when we were in church, or when you were in church, what was it that you were taught about heaven and earth?
Passing away.
Yes.
The new heaven and the new earth coming.
well, we was taught that we were going up to heaven.
And what was going to happen? Anything happened to the earth?
Did they say anything happened to the earth? No, they kept saying we was going to heaven.
We just all going ahead. So they didn't say nothing about the new heaven and the new earth coming down and all that stuff.
Well, they said that, but and like you said, make it make sense. I saw last when they say we was going up to heaven, that I guess that would become the new heaven and the new earth by their standard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense.
Because they
They
never
talk-
really
Nigel,
said too much about it's written, but they never really spoke on it coming down to the point where you really understood that the heaven was coming down to the earth. We was always taught that we was going up to the heavens. That's where everyone is at when they leave here. They in the heaven.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that's what I remember. It's been a long time. I've been sitting here just thinking what, because it's been over 35 years since I was in the church like that. Yeah, I think we were taught more like that rapture thing that would be taken up. I don't recall much about what was being said about what would happen to the earth, though. Yep.
well, I know they taught a myriad of things, and it just doesn't make sense, you know, because what's going to take place first? Because they talk about a rapture where the Christians are gonna be caught up in the air. First is those that are dead in Christ. Then the remaining shall meet him in the air. And then there's a particular passage that talks about a new Jerusalem in Revelation, like Brother Conga said, is gonna come down. And I mean, so are these gonna happen simultaneously, or which is first? I mean, it's confusing.
Well, don't forget about the mid-trib and then
Oh yeah, the mid, the pre,
Yeah.
tribulation.
something else to confuse you. So you weren't sure, what are we going to be going up in the air during the mid-trib or pre-trib? So
Well, I can tell you, because being in the church, being a preacher in the church, and New Testament, at that time, yes. The New Testament, that was my thing. Brenda will tell you. So my thing that I preached about was we would be raptured and taken into heaven to be there for the marriage ceremony. And we will be there for 7 years. So those 7 years would be down here on the earth. Half of those years, 3.5, will be peace. Okay.
yeah.
Then The other 3.5 years, it will be all chaos breaking out because the beast will be running rampant and trying to kill everybody and destroying everyone, you know, but we're up in heaven having a good time. We ain't got to deal with that.
Right. We're sitting around the table eating and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In heaven.
Yes.
So all of us gonna die. Because they also teach that you go to heaven when you die. I mean, make it make sense, y'all. Make it make sense. Help me make it make sense.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking
After-
this thing would be a heck of a Hollywood script.
Oh man,
Yeah.
they
It
pretty
actually,
much
it actually did
with-
play out,
with,
right?
Remember, they did have all those movies.
Left Behind.
Left Behind.
Yes, Left Behind.
yes,
And that, and now you look back on it, that didn't make sense either.
Exactly.
But they didn't deal with what happened with those that were taken up. They just dealt with those that were left behind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, here's the thing that got me. Now, I've always been one that questioned things that didn't make sense to me, even in Christianity.
Mhm.
Now, let's say in the rapture that all of us that are saved will be caught up in the air, so we're gonna be taken away. And he said that the earth is gonna be destroyed not by water, but by fire
Fire.
next time. So I couldn't get. I'm like, but Noah, and they related to Noah, so to speak. I'm like, but Noah wasn't taken up. He didn't. It was the other people that died. He remained on earth. He was protected. So what am I missing? That didn't make sense to me. But anyway, as you all can see, that a lot of us were taught different things. So that is confusion. And the Most High is not in the author of confusion. Religion is nothing more than just a mental enslavement, full of confusion, full of lies. And if you can't see that, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't know what to tell you. But I do know that the Most High is not the author of confusion. And religion have so many different sects. Somebody was talking about how there's different sects of Christianity, where in all of them are wrong, though, are not right. Judaism, they don't have they do have different sects. They have the Reformed Judaism, you have the Orthodox Judaism, you have the Messianic Judaism. So they do have different sects. And then they said the Islam. In Islam, you have the Sunnis and the
Shiites.
yeah. So and it's just confusion because there's so many different things, so many different beliefs. Who's right, who's wrong? Okay, so we got that. All right, so we're gonna move off of this slide here. So I want to take a look at this word here, new, because it says that it's going to be a new heaven and a new earth. So it's Hebrew 23:19, which is translated, they say, as a new thing, fresh. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So new is defined as having recently come into existence, being other than the former or the old, different from one of the same category that has existed previously, of dissimilar origin, and usually of superior quality. Now that H2319 comes from a root word, which is defined as renew, repair, to make anew. So when you see that definition, that root word, then it tells you that something's not right with the old, right? Something is going on where it needs to be repaired. It needs to be renewed. So something is going on where it's not at its original state. That's why you're renewing it, right? That's why you're repairing it. That's why you're trying to make it like anew, like it was in the former state. So something we do know has transpired from the time of origin, when the Most High created the heavens and the earth, to now. Something transpired to where it's not in its correct order. Y'all following me?
Yes.
So Jeremiah 31 is another passage I want us to look at, 35 and 36. And it says, thus says the Most High, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinance of the moon and of the stars for a light by night, which divided the sea when the waves thereof roar. The Lord of hosts is his name. If those ordinance talking about that's in the sky, the moon, the stars, etc. If those ordinances depart from before me, says the Most High, then the seed, the children of Isolele, also shall cease from being a what? A nation before me. Now, they have people in organized religion thinking that the chosen people, excuse me, you can convert into being them. You got all different types of color. You got Chinese, you got European, they even got the Ethiopian, the Africans. They got everybody, and you can become the Most High's children. You can convert. So we want to take a look at this word nation to see if what they are stating and what they are teaching in these churches is true or not. So when you look at the word ordinance first, it says, if these ordinances depart from before me. And it says, these are fixed orders, fixed pattern. The sun comes out at a fixed time. The moon comes out and it has this cycle every 28 days, the 27, 28 days that it comes out, sometimes 29 days and it's fixed. It's an ordinance. And so it's there. It's fixed, mean it is there to stay, right? And he said, if these ordinances depart from me, then the seed of Isolele shall cease from being a nation. So what is a nation? Because they said, these other people, Zombie told me not to say it. So we won't.
We're just trying to stay on YouTube.
I said, we done said it before many times, but y'all know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, we know who you're talking about.
These folks that want to be that are not.
Yes.
Mhm.
So nation, this English word, it says 1300s, that is defined as a race of people. Does that fit the category of what they're saying?
Race, though. Like that word 1700s is when the word race came about. So yeah, I wouldn't say that that's accurate for a nation of people.
A large group. Go ahead.
To be called a race, I'm just saying in terms of the use of that word race.
Well, I thought that was when like the colors came out. But anyway, I see what you're saying. A large group of people with common ancestry and language. From Old French nation, which is birth, rank, descendants, relatives, referring to procreation and familial groups. So it's saying it is a group of people that has a common ancestry and descendants. That's the gist of it.
Right.
A group of people related. And then the Cambridge Dictionary says that it is a large group of people. So they changed it up, Brother Energy. The Cambridge Dictionary did, instead of saying race of people, they say it's a large group of people, well, they do have race, of the same race.
They can't, they just can't get a word from their creation. They have to insert their way.
Who share the same language, traditions, and history. Who might not all live in one area. So it is a group of people we know that share a common ancestry. So they have the same ancestors, same descendants, same language and traditions.
Now that, if you look at it, I don't know, tell me if you feel that what I'm saying is accurate or inaccurate. I've never really heard them relate to their ancestors. What I remember them calling the people that have passed on, that were their ancestors, they called them forefathers. And so I think that they use, yeah, obviously nations refer to us, but not to them is what I'm saying, because they don't, they have not,
Exactly.
never
That's my
really referred
point.
to them. Yes, okay.
And the other thing too is going back to where that first paragraph where she described nation and she read referring to procreation and familial. It also
Yes,
says and tribal.
but
Now,
we know that's another assertion of, insertion
yeah,
of their.
yeah, but they don't they don't refer to themselves as a tribe.
Oh
No,
yeah,
that was
right.
used in a negative connotation to refer to particularly our people, us.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So really the definition in gist, when you look at it in gist, it's not describing them, it's describing us.
Yes.
Hello. Hello. But this is funny about how they allocate information. They put everything out there. However, if you look at what they write, what they postulate, and rather than their actions, rather than the lifestyle that they actually live, the words that they actually speak, you could be confused about what's going on. But I pay attention to the LCD, the lowest common denominator, always and everything. I just go to the root cause. They don't call their people ancestors. They don't relate to themselves as tribes.
They don't.
No.
And they do say forefathers because they said when they talk about these like George Washington and all these people that wrote the Constitution, et cetera, they said our forefathers.
And founding fathers.
And
Never
our
ancestors.
founding fathers, right? They don't say ancestors. You're right. We say ancestors.
Yeah.
The
Because they forget
African.
to change. It's funny, they forget to change. Like the lie that they're trying to keep, it's impossible to keep. So we can see through the lies. If you just have to be in that discerning frame of mind, but it's so clear once you open your eyes.
Thank you. It's very clear once you open your eyes.
Yep. And they always reference Abraham as their father. Now, of course, it said he would be the father of many nations. So by him, according to the Bible, he had a son with the handmaiden Hagar,
They say,
which was Ishmael, right? So Ishmael was not the chosen seed.
They say, yeah, they didn't.
So, but they always acknowledge Abraham.
Mm-hmm.
What about the other child? You don't hear them say nothing about him, Isaac.
It's just hard to perpetuate the lie.
Yes.
So they're saying, my point in showing this is that one, they said that anybody can join in once you convert, but a nation of people, because we come from kingdoms and nation, us, you all, you have to be born in. Those of you that was in the Church of God in Christ, the song they used to sing. It's the same way with this. You can't join in. You got to be born in. This is the nation. You can join in it. But see, in Judaism, you can join in it. Anybody can convert.
That was popularized by the Khazars, and they made it a thing when they converted from Muslim to Judaism. They were the ones who popularized it. And so
yes,
when it became available through their avenues, then anyone else could be grafted in. But when you look at the origin of how they actually became, it was an effort through the Vatican, right? It was Jewish and Christians who brought together this Muslim race. And but they came in through giving up their cloak of Muslim to join Judaism. Yeah, they just joined it.
And actually, before Muslim, they were in some other type of religion. And
yeah, the Khazars, it was a dark thing. I forget what it was called.
It starts with a T. It was something, but yeah, it was very dark what they were in. So, and then from what I read, it was a brother of one of theirs that left and joined in with Islam and Muslim. So a lot of them, if they go back, they'll see that they were some of these Muslim people are also from the same stock as these so-called other people that Manzambi told me not to mention.
Ish. Yeah, you know, it's the Christians and the Jews and the Christians back then, it's like the Bible really doesn't talk about how connected those two religions were. They were dark, man. They did a lot of they supported each other in the hardships that they imposed on other people.
Yes,
And
they did.
yeah, I mean they were a conspiracy group. They were a unit.
Now, the interesting thing is, because we know that Chat GPT, we've been talking about that, is nothing more than a computer. You have to program what you want in there, so you can get it caught up. I showed my zombie where I got it caught up in his lie. I said, well, you said this and this and this and this, and then you said this and this and this, but this and this and this and this and this, and this is really this. And it apologized and say, kept going on, and it finally said, you know, I can only give what I program. If you have more information that can, because it says something one true, and I'm like, I'm gonna get you caught up. So get off. We're gonna get back on here. I'm gonna say this real quick, but I asked it a question about the Ish folks, and you know, because Josephus said that there was a great slaughter of our people when the Romans took over the Greeks in our area in North Africa and Kemet. And it says that in the book of Wars, Josephus said, and they ran deeper into Africa. So I said, what part of the deep part of Africa did they run to? So I'm asking Chat, you supposed to be AI, so smart. They ran deeper. Where did they run to then? And he said Egypt. I said Egypt. I said, that's considered deep Africa. And it goes on this spiel. I got it caught up though, and it apologized, like I said. But then I said, and he said then it started talking about, well, in the land of Canaan. I said Canaan. Canaan was a melanated individual. That land was named after him. His children lived in that area, so his children were melanated people in that land. They were melanated Africans. That's who Canaan was. Then it said, well, though when we look at the ancient Israelite and the modern, hey, I get you. See, he distinguished between the ancient ones and the modern ones. They're not the same.
Right. But with AI, it's going to be the same as with the educational system. Exactly. Asians and Europeans developed it. And so they first off, they don't know the history of humanity enough to know. So they can only put in what they can put in, but whatever truths they do know about our cultures, they certainly are not going to put that in there either. If you know, at one point I didn't want to interact with it, but I think the only interaction really with it is what you're doing. We have to teach it about us, and then the way these systems, like when I look at some of the questions that were posed to it, when it really got down to the LCD, like if it ever came down to AI and humanity, what the question is, and even with that question not being posed of whether or not it was a war between the two, AI has always insinuated it would wipe out humanity, period.
Yeah.
So what I know is it sees a fault in humanity that it sees itself ending if humanity doesn't make a corrective measure. I think we are the corrective measure that hasn't been input into the AI system. I feel that the more truth that we can put in about the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob into that AI space, the tables will turn, and I just see it. I see that system, those systems, becoming more friendly towards us instead of antagonistic towards us. But we have to educate it.
You're right, because I was teaching AI. I told him, he talked about, the Semites. I said, it's confused. I said, it's not confusing. I said, Shem does not mean name. I broke down what it means, where it came from, Kikongo word, all that. And it told me, the modern anthropologists or whoever linguists don't agree. I said that that's the key word you said. I told you I was having a conversation with it. Is mine. I kept going back and forth till it came and gave me two options. Which one would you like to see me to input into here? And I read both of them because I showed it was wrong. And so it came up with two options for a correction, and you choose. And I read both of them. I choose neither one of them. It's still incorrect. Still incorrect.
That sounds like the ideology mindset of the European. No matter how no matter how much you display before them the facts, they can't take it in. They just can't take it in.
And then had the nerves to say, I'm sorry that you are angered or upset. I said, angered, upset. What? I said, I'm not angered or upset. And then they said, oh, well, your tone. I said, tone?
That's what they do.
I said, you hear tone. You don't hear me. I'm writing. I'm sorry. I apologize. You write tone mean blah, 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 blah.
Wow. So they instilled a sensitivity to this, wow, because that's how they behave with us. They'll tell us when we are confronted with their idiocracy, once, and they know it's impossible for, should I maintain a docile state of being in the presence of just whatever is in your insane mindset? Yeah, my voice is going to raise. But they see that as, they call that an uncivilized manner of behavior. They've taught the world that. And so it's so saturated in the mindset of our people, a lot of us don't even fight back or raise our voices around these idiots for fear of thinking that we're going to be pigeonholed. It's like, we're already pigeonholed.
Exactly. But you know what? If anybody has the right to be uncivilized, it's us after what has been done to us by uncivilized, barbaric people.
Yes.
See, we have taken so much because of the nature of the people of who we are. We are created in the image and likeness of the creator. So they said that the creator, is loving, is kind, is long suffering. Who else is like that? Nobody but us. You put us through all this hell here on earth, and then yet our people still come and forgive you when you kill their sons, kill their daughters. They still forgive you.
The Most High also has an opposite to all that loving too, and that's what we don't do. We don't activate the opposite of that loving.
Exactly, because of the manipulations. That's why I say if anybody have a right, it is us because of what they have done to us. But see, the worst thing you can do is to back people like that up against the wall, and they have nowhere else. That's the worst thing that you can do. And right now, people back is against the wall.
Yes.
Yeah, they're making an attempt to recolonize Africa. This is,
So they're gonna see a beast.
Yeah.
But
that they wish they hadn't pushed to the point of being unleashed.
But so what I was saying earlier, that's what I was getting to before we started recording. What I'm seeing is our people on the continent over there are in a certain mindset that we're not in. When we get there, that's going to be like an activation once we have enough time to sit and talk with them that will activate this very thing I think that we're talking about right now. But it will never happen until we arrive. The children that we're taking, see, children are the future. And I think there's a lot lost in the way of thinking for our people on the mainland of the continent over there. They tend to think that our coming back is for us to be put in some position. That's not it at all. We are coming back to actually direct the way in which we're going to lead our people there until Tatan Zembe sews this thing up. We're not coming to sit still and be quiet at all.
Oh no.
We're there to be a catalyst for change.
Absolutely. We're coming to be cleansed. We're coming to go, to be spiritually attenuated to the frequency of the continent there. And beyond that, it's about the children taking the reins and leading our people out of this. That's what I see us do.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I agree with you and what Mama Doris said, because I was looking at a video of a young lady that went and visited South Africa. I don't know if you all saw it or not. I don't remember if I shared it in the group or not. However, she was at the store, and you know that how it's a lot of them down there in South Africa. And we know that their mindset, our brothers and sisters mindset of how they think about them and perceive them is different than us here in America, because we've been in the belly of the beast. So we know how they operate, and we just don't take a lot of stuff that our brothers and sisters take on the continent, even though they're awakening on the continent. So she was in line to purchase her items, and she didn't have that many. So she was in the short line, whatever they call it. And this elderly Caucasian lady was in the line for the elderly. But because y'all saw that?
Yes.
Yeah, because and if we don't talk, they don't know who we are. Because we look the same. So if we don't open our mouth, so she probably thought that she was a South African, that she could just do that to the young lady, not knowing that she was a fiery African American that will, like she said.
For those who didn't see the video, what happened?
The Caucasian lady got upset because she got served first. Her grocery got sprung up first, the young black female. So she went in, she knocked him off the conveyor, and so the young African-American young lady went and knocked hers off. So they got into an altercation. The white lady hit her. She said, I hit her back and I gave her some licks. And she said they went and got the man. She said, I told them I would tear this place up with what's inside of me. Now I would tear this place up.
You know what I like that she said? You know what I like that she said? I like that she said, we who are coming here from America, we don't have, I'm paraphrasing, like we don't tolerate that. We're not the same mindset. And she made a reference to, we're not like the African people here. You're not gonna run over us who come here. Oh yeah, she said that's great.
She did say that.
But and so that's what I'm saying. Like they pay homage still to these white folks. They still take that stuff from these people, and it's the indoctrination process. It's just indoctrination, and fear is associated with it, but it's indoctrination. They simply need to see more examples of how these people need to be treated. And that's what happens when we arrive there. We will create.
We got Pookie and Ray Ray looking, just looking for you to start something with.
Let's not send Pookie. If we send Pookie and Ray Ray, it's gonna get crazy.
Don't look at them the wrong way.
Oh my goodness!
They'll be skipping to a fight.
We're gonna have to keep Pookie and Ray Ray on check for a minute. You know what I mean? We got a time for them, but we got to keep them on check, man. Sure.
That's true. They'll be skipping. They'll be skipping.
Oh, man, once they unleash, it ain't no turning back once they unleash, brother. You know that.
That's right. And I want to say this too. The thing also is we want to reconnect with our brothers and our sisters on the continent because we're family. They are us, we are them. And when you look at what they have categorized us here in America, they categorize us as African American, African first. So that tells you we are Africans.
Yes.
I drop the American. I drop it. Do you hear me? I'll repeat that over and over. I drop it. Because I am not. I was born here, but I am African.
Not from here.
Okay.
Exactly.
I have taken all that I'm going to take from these Mundelis. So when I come home, I'm going to connect with my brothers and sisters, as Nkosi Energy was saying, and we will talk with them, we will speak with them, and we will share with them. And guess what? We will show them we're not afraid of those Mundelis.
No, we're not.
Okay? We're not afraid. The thing is, they do not want us to unite.
Yes.
That has been their fight for years. Stop us from uniting.
I met a young lady from Ghana at the store. She told me God sent me to her, and it was just about some food. She couldn't figure out what to eat with her waffles. And I said, here, get this maple syrup. Don't get that here. I said, it has a lot of poison in it. And I started talking to her. She said, oh, God sent you to me. And we just started talking, and we started talking about us and, as a people. And she was telling me how she saw how they treated us. And I'm saying this to say that a lot of our brothers and sisters, majority of them on the continent, are not aware of what we went through over here in America. They're not aware that they cut our hands
sure
off too,
aren't.
our ancestors' hands off.
Yes.
They're not
And
aware that they
everything
cut
else.
our ancestors' hands off, their feet off, that they raped our mothers, that they used our mother's baby as a gator bait. They use our ancestors for healthcare research that they still doing today. A lot of things that they use in healthcare over here in America and other places, they use our ancestors first and said that we have no pain. They would do surgery on our ancestors without any pain or any anesthetic, nothing, just use us for guinea pigs the same ways they doing them. So they did us the same way over here. It was not all cake and ice cream over here for us. No, what happened was we began to rise up and fight and started demanding at one particular time, and something happened along the way where but anyway, that's another story for a different day. And
but this African thing, though, this African American thing, is like if you take a buffalo from the plains of the mainland and you take it to Africa, does it become what, an African buffalo? Or is it just still a buffalo?
Yeah, man, Zombie said that about a German Shepherd.
It's like, and the thing with like, I didn't understand the atrocities or the horrors either that our people have been going through since Pope Nicholas's decree, and into 2018, when I saw Dr. Africana Chichambori at the first talk I saw her, when she talked about what happened over there. When I first heard this word, the great Mafa, yeah. And it was just the great destruction, the great disaster. But so they didn't tell us on either side from the east to west what happened to our people who were taken away, or to the people who stayed on none of us knew that, and most of us still don't know. Most of our people on the mainland still don't know what happened.
No, they don't, because I've had ones ask me about it. And we have this young man that's a friend with our son. His people are from Congo, and he shared with us how he was told when he came over here, don't hang around the Black people. I said, they tell all of our brothers and sisters that over here, and that he said that because they are gangs, and they lazy. Yeah, they do all kinds of horrible things. I said, ask yourself, I said, who are the ones that created and perpetrated all these world wars? He said, white people. I said, okay, have you seen any Africans, which include us? You seen any of us going around creating world wars? He said, no. He said, my mama started seeing on the news how they were killing the Black people. Then she said, well, don't hang around the white people either. So let me tell you something. I said, you ask anybody my age and older, they'll tell you that they taught us to hate you all, Africans. But we don't hate you, the ones that are awake. We don't hate you. We know that they told us a lie. So they told you all a lie. I said, I know that they have our people that come over here into America. They have to watch a film, and that film shows a negative light and only the negative side of our people, and tell them don't affiliate with them. I said, that is done by design to keep us divided.
Exactly. Yeah.
I know a lot of people from different countries, and just, and it's interesting how it does come up, but it does. I've heard from different ethnic groups of people what they hear in immigration when they're coming through immigration. They all are told something negative about us in America as Black people.
They have to watch a film about us, and then and there's several people from on the that came over here have told me that. And I was also told that they only show the negative light of our people on the continent. So they just think we're all gangbangers, robbers, and et cetera, and we're the worst people on the earth, when that is far from the truth. As a matter of fact, and this is not to excuse our people behavior at all, but you put us in a position to where a lot of our people have to do certain things for survival.
Mhm.
You know, so when you do tests like with mice and put them in a crowded condition, and then you execute that out on a group of people and call it a project and put them in that project, knowing that the rats, the mice that you use in that little experiment that was crowded, they end up turning upon one another. So you that's evil. You're just evil. So what they try to project onto us is actually who they are.
Yes.
How about
You're the evil dark one.
How about how alcoholism became a problem in inner cities? You know, when I lived in Napa Valley, I knew the grandson of one of the champagne makers in one winery, who was the founder of Seagram's. He talked about how his grandfather, when they founded it back in the day, would have people who were employed by him take empty bottles of Seagram's gin and put them in gutters in inner cities. So as people were walking down, downtrodden, beaten down, you'd see an empty bottle enough down the road, and by the time you got to that store, you'd purchase that Seagram's empty bottle full in the store that you'd seen that no one had drank from.
Wow.
They use all these mental tactics and for people who were down and impoverished. And once they get that stuff in you, here they used alcohol like they did with Native Indians. They'd come in with these Hanaidan families who had properties here. Every family had property here. It was through the king, just like it is in Africa. And so when they came in, they used alcohol. They get them drunk first, and they come and say, after they got them drunk, these guys would want to drink. And they said, well, you know, I'll trade you a case of beer, a case of grain alcohol for this land. And they would give up that land, thinking it was some kind of and they lost, like, majority of the land here was lost like that. These people are
They're
evil.
doing this, the alcohol thing also, wherever they are, they're doing that in South Africa too. There's a big alcoholism and drug problem there too, but it started by them. That's what they do.
What it does, it takes your healthy young men out of the equation. They're drunk now. They're not going to fight for anything except for another bottle of something and to harass a woman. They know they know how your culture people will degrade once the alcohol becomes a part of your community.
You said you want to say something.
Yeah, going back to the lesson here, you know, because I know we do have to move on. This is really interesting. This whole conversation is very interesting. But also picking up here on the language where it said with common ancestry and language. When you go back to the ancient, you know, and how they spoke, you know, the Bible is broken up in two sections, Hebrew and Greek. So Hebrew, it will actually be the African language. And when you look at these individuals who say that they are the children of God, they speak a language that they call modern Hebrew. And this modern Hebrew is a mixture of different European languages.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the ancient Hebrew, wouldn't that be more of like Kikongo?
Yes.
Exactly. Yes.
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 Yep.
And the other interesting thing too, real quick, is look at how the Bible is written. Again, Hebrew, Old Testament, Greek, New Testament is literally black and white.
Yes.
Literally black and white. And they tell you in the church, we no longer follow what is the Old Testament.
Right.
That's there just to learn, that we a learning lesson. We are now in the New Testament, a new dispensation.
So the unspoken theme was we turning away from that black thing and we're gonna take it to this white thing.
There you go.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. So new heaven and earth, kingdom of heaven. Some of the Pharisees, this is Luke 17:20-21. Some of the Pharisees asked the Messiah, when will the kingdom of God come? The Messiah answered, God's kingdom is coming, but not in a way that you will be able to see with your eyes. And they're talking about physical eyes. People will not say, oh, look, here it is. There it is, because the kingdom God is inside of you. And the reason why I put this particular passage here is because we know that the kingdom of heaven and the kingdom of God is synonymous. And they're talking about heaven going away. But actually, this passage here that's talking about the heaven is not a physical thing. It's a spiritual thing that's happening on the inside and then outside. Right? So it's a new heaven and earth that's symbolic of unity, harmony, peace, divine intervention, cosmic shift, expanding consciousness, redemption and restoration. Remember, it's not physical. Moon to transformation and spiritual renewal, cosmic reconciliation, spiritual evolution, and vibrational shift. So let's take a look at some of these things here. But before we do that, the divine, know that the divine is inside of you. The divine presence of the Most High is inside you. Remember, the passage says that he does not dwell in temples made with man's hand, meaning the creator does not. Let me put it like that. Dwell in temples made with man's hand. Remember, in the Bible, it says that he created, that the Most High created man, and he breathed into man, and man became a living being. So that means he put his essence. He put his spirit. He put him. Essence is you. So it's inside of us. It's not on the outside, but in Christianity and religion, organized religion, they teach you that it's on the outside. That's why they always go to church every Sunday, looking for the creator at church, looking for an experience of the creator outside. Then they come back home into the same mud that they were in, and nothing has changed, because transformation first takes place on the inside. But the church, organized religion, has fooled people to believe that it's from the outside in, and you will never see a change in that manner, in that fashion. Never. It starts inwardly, and then it protrudes outwardly.
But the change you will see is that you begin to decay spiritually. Your spirit will begin to decay. You'll become more corrupt, I feel, more. I mean, that's just things that happen underneath the spirit when you start taking these butt sacrifices in these churches and doing whatever, this Muslim and this Islam, this Judaism thing. It's a negative effect that you actually get. It takes you away from our creator.
Exactly. So it's no change, because remember I said when it's talked about the new heaven, a new earth, and it's saying that it is redoing and a new, that means that something changed from the first creation. There was a change. It's not in the order state that it was. So what you're saying now is basically what I was saying in the beginning. It just continued the manifestation of this madness, this chaos.
Yeah.
Until we go back and go in the inside. And so we see that happening now with this here awakening. And this, we're going back and said, no, greater is he that is in me. And they say this in church. Greater is he that is in me, that is in the world. So if the greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. So if the greater is inside of you, why are you going outside looking for him if he's inside of you?
Exactly.
Make it make sense, y'all. Make it make sense.
If I can, whatever I think on, whatever I speak, if I can create that and it manifests, and I'm like a god. I am a god.
Yes. Yes. You come from God. Yes. You come from God. You are a God. Yes, absolutely. The scripture says that. So what is she saying? Let me look at this here.
She said, she just gave the scripture, John 4:4. Greater is he that is within you than he that is in the world.
Exactly. But they go to the world looking for change, because when you go outside is essentially what you're doing. That's why there's no change. And they can just say, like we saw with this TD Jake situation, where he subtly admitted to the world that he was guilty when he said, if I'm being accused of something of this magnitude, there's no way that I'm going to come out and say, if I'm going to say, you know what, these accusations are false. I don't know where they're coming from. This is not me. This is not my care. I'm not going to say if. There is grace. So whatever he said to something like there's grace and there's repentance. See, that's the problem with the church. I can do what I want to. I can live the way I want to. All I got to go is just because the blood of Jesus on the cross took my sins away. So I can live a filthy life however I want to. Sunday morning, I can go to church and ask for forgiveness when our ancestors did not walk in that manner. Then you want to talk about how Africans, that's us, our spirituality is demonic. When we didn't even live like that, we said things like with the principles, I have not killed, not stolen, I have not. And they lived and upheld these principles. So who's demonic? Who's evil? Tell me now, who's evil?
Right.
But the laws have been done away with, sister.
Right.
We under grace now.
Yeah.
They under a curse with living this way of thinking that you can live any kind of way that you want, and then they're gonna say, quote unquote, I'm going to heaven because Jesus died on the cross and he already nailed my sin. This is what they teach you in church. He nailed my sins to the cross. Before I was born, my sin, I've heard this. My sins was nailed on the cross. So I asked somebody.
And the blood covers me.
And the blood covers me. That's what he said. Ask somebody, because I ask questions now. You talk about sin, you being saved. What do you say from sin? Sin. Well, why sin exists? Saved to me tells me that you're no longer dealing with that, what you were being saved. If I'm in a position or somebody's in a position where they're drowning and somebody comes save them, they're no longer in that situation. They're no longer drowning. So sin still exists. People still sin. So how can you be saved from it? Explain it to me and make it make sense. Make it make sense.
Can't.
For all you religious fanatics out there that want to talk about African spirituality, make that make sense. Don't. You feel like you can live any kind of way that you want, do whatever you want, and heaven bound is where I'm going.
And
Well, all you have to do
why
is
they are comfortable in what they're in. And when we try to explain it to them and tell them, they don't want to hear it.
That's right.
It wasn't even like that. It was a path of they called it Isfet, which was like the wrong path, and I forgot what the other, which is the right path you want to go to. So it wasn't about sinning. It was just that you took a wrong path and you're on the wrong path that's leading you in the wrong way. It's all different. They, this Greek, when the Greeks, Zombie told you all, and we all know this, how the New Testament is Greek. So when you research, really, I did this research when I was in Christianity before I was awakened. I knew that the concept of hell that they taught in Christianity came from Greek mythology, the way they describe it. It's not ours. I knew that in Christianity. But you couldn't tell people that in Christianity, and you in there, they're going to look at you cross-eyed, you see.
But they still talk about there's a judgment day. There's a judgment day. Well, if my sins were taken away, why do I have to go before a judgment?
Make it make sense now.
Right. It's not making sense.
Make it make sense. If he nailed it to the cross.
Right. Then I don't have to go before a judgment, right?
He said every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess.
Well, they gonna be in heaven, so they ain't gotta be in.
Up there.
They could change the Bible's name to the Book of Inconsistencies.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you. And I'm making mockery of it because they created religion and made a mockery of the Most High in our people. So that's why I'm making a mockery of it, because they created it to make mockery of our people and the Most High.
And the biggest fear, one of the biggest fears that they've used is this whole wrong teaching about hell and have our people afraid.
Yeah.
And you know what I say to that? Because I come from a Pentecostal background, teaching hell and fire and brimstone. So they teach that fear. One thing since I have awakened that I know is fear is a low vibration. And the righteous Bakulus and the Most High does not even come near negative or low vibration. They don't operate, they are high frequency. So once you lower yourself to these low vibration, you're no longer in their presence. They're not, they don't come near that. So that can't be something from the Most High, because the Most High, let's make it make sense, y'all. The Bible says, fear not. But then they put that fear in you, saying you're going to go to hell if you don't do X, Y, and Z. And they put the fear on you. Then to turn around and the scripture says, fear not. Make it make sense. Please make it make sense. Woo, you can't make this stuff up. So some things we will begin to see in the new heaven and the new earth is harmony and harmony and unity. And between the spiritual and the physical realm. So you, in other words, you'll see Ma'at starting to manifest again. And we'll get into that just a little bit. We did a teaching on Ma'at, and those that have not seen that video, go and look it up about Ma'at and what it is and what it's not. It is not what we have been taught. And so it symbolizes a time of harmony and peace. Also, it represents an era of tranquility and spiritual fulfillment. Divine intervention and renewal. And do we not see divine intervention taking place? Do we not see renewal in the minds of the melanated man, woman, boy, and girl? It represents when there's it's a time when the existing order undergoes a complete renewal, a transformation. Remember, I told you from the beginning, it says a new heaven and a new earth, and gave the definition of new. That's what it's saying. So that which what it is now, basically it's going to go back to what it was before. Remember, in our spirituality, African spirituality, we know that everything is cyclical. So if we pay attention to nature, it will teach us a lot. We will learn a lot. So we're going right back to the order where it's supposed to be, where it was in the beginning. That's why it says anew, to renew, to redo. A transformation through divine intervention, or that cosmic shift, that consciousness, that change in consciousness, and also redemption and restoration, signifying a state of spiritual perfection. Not saying we're perfect, but back to that spiritual state of where we were honoring the laws of Ma'at, and we were operating in Ubuntu. Restoration of what? Like I said, the original divine plan, where humanity and the physical world exists in alignment, and spiritual principles of Ma'at and Ubuntu is present. Now, Ma'at, we know, Ubuntu has to do with unity, justice, fairness, righteousness, truth, all these things. And when there's not a balance, there's chaos and disorder, because we have left the original order. There's an imbalance. There's chaos. That's why you see all these wars going on, all this killing going on. You know who's ruling by what's going on. And it is not the Most High. It's not his people. What they saying? They going to town in this chat over here. Nigel, you're gonna have to start talking.
Man, everybody pull out your book of confusion.
Confusion. Go to the book of confusion.
That's good.
The book of confusion. My goodness. Yes, Mama Doris, the Most High has not given us the spirit of fear, but yet they teach and preach fear in the church. So whose spirit are they operating up under when they are causing the spirit of fear? Because fear is a spirit to come upon people. If the Most High has not given us that spirit and it's a low vibration, and they don't operate. Our righteous Bakulus don't operate are around such a low frequency. Then who is
Operating
them, causing them to teach and preach in such a way that it brings upon fear of the people? Who's operating in these preachers in the church that's doing this? Who?
Listening to them fallen spirits.
All right, so we'll go to the next one. Cosmic reconciliation of the entire cosmos, aligning the spiritual and the physical realms in perfect harmony, which is we keep going back to that, you all.
It keeps popping up. That's telling us something. Yeah.
Resolution of cosmic conflicts, or the culmination of a divine plan. That keeps coming up to the divine plan, divine order, original divine plan, original divine order that unites creation and spiritual fulfillment and perfection. Signifies a state of spiritual fulfillment where the creation reach a heightened state or awakened. We are, is that not happening?
Absolutely happening.
Discovering the truth, is that not happening?
Yes.
Roger that.
Within oneself, rather than seeking externally. Remember, I said you go internally. But that's why they said, man, know thyself.
What is that phrase? What is that word? Ubugani.
Oh.
Ubugani.
Ubugani, man, know thyself.
Man, know thyself.
Yes. Who are you?
Yes, who are you? So if you don't know who you are and you standing before people and you saying that you're the watchman of their soul, I really feel for you all in the church, because you're being led to the slaughter when you don't know who you are. And a lot of these pastors, they know who we are and they refuse to teach.
That's right.
I've heard them say it. That's why I know it.
Yep.
I think we have to be kind of get real with our self frame of mind. We were all tricked. Like we weren't born into truth, we were born into lies. And so like you're not obligated to clench and hold fast to a lie. You're not obligated to that. We were tricked. So like just ask yourself if you like the idea of being tricked. You know, if you like the idea of being lied to, because what you're adhering to in Muslims traditions or Judaism and Christianity is lies, all lies. And those lies, actually, the lies are lies fabricated around the death and slaughter of our Bakulus. They came to war upon the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They ain't come for nobody else. They came for the riches that our kingdoms had. That's what they came for. So you're adhering to those of us still out there adhering to these religions. You are, it's like you're still leaping horror and terror upon our ancestors by adhering to these people, these religions, their founding and forefathers who murdered our Baku. You're still participating in that slaughter. Yes.
You're still in mental slavery.
We have to break it. You have to give yourself permission to step out of it.
That's right. They're still in mental slavery.
Yes.
Yes. And that last thing that you just said in Kosi Dream is what was dropped in my spirit a couple of days ago. And that is, we have to break all of this.
All of it.
Come out from all of it. Everything that we have ever been taught.
Everything.
We have to drop it.
And it takes time. Yep. Yeah. You have to be forgiving with yourself. You can't, and you can't rush this process.
Right.
But it has to happen.
Yes. Yes. Because these ways, everything that we have learned, that we've taken on, that we're doing, it is not who we are.
Right.
It's not who we are.
You have to do the work on yourself.
There you
Day
go.
in and day out.
And
Day
it's
in.
Day in and day out.
yes. And it starts with denouncing
That's
these
right.
religions that we have taken on, denouncing, saying that I give my life to Jesus Christ. You got to denounce all of that, because what you've now done was committed yourself to another deity, which is a false deity.
And you giving it energy every time they go to the church and call his name, which I don't know how. Like, this is another one of those moments where I said, make it make sense. They in church, and I was in this madness too at one time until my eyes were awakened. They said it's power in the name of Jesus, and they have songs about that.
Right.
Yep.
But his name was not Jesus. If you go back in the time when they say he was around, he was not called by that name because that letter was not even around. It's like what, the 1700s. So how can there be power in a name
That it was
that's
never-
not even his?
Well, there
How
could
can there
be
be power?
there could be if see, I think the trick is there is power, but who are you empowering?
Exactly. That's my point. Every time they go to church and say that egregore that they're calling upon, that's what they're fueling and giving it energy. And that is why the people that are in on top right now still have power, because you go into their demonic God, because they operate from a demonic perspective. They don't operate out of Ma'at. And you see, we're supposed to be the teachers of the world. Our ancestors tried numerous times to teach them about Ma'at, Ubuntu. They opened their doors, opened their arms, and opened the temples to teach them. And what did they do? They turned on our ancestors, overtook their land, and killed and slaughtered them, and have all these wars, and still killing the children today, and causing havoc on our homeland, and even on us. It's happening. Change.
Yeah, decolonization.
Opportunity to change.
And our people that are still asleep in religion it's such a heavy psychosis. If we even mention the word Ma'at, oh, there they go with that wicked Egyptian stuff again, worship all them gods.
Ma'at is in the Bible. Ma'at has to do with fairness, order, righteousess.
Yes.
Right.
But they don't see
it's
that
principles.
Bringing
They
up
say that
balance.
out of ignorance, because I brought this up with somebody on this group that we in, or some friends of ours, was talking about knowledge. And these religions, a lot of them, they don't want you to go outside and study outside. Some of them.
Right. They don't.
They want that's a form of control, and the Most High does not operate like that. We
But
have
what they
free
do,
will.
but what they do is they demonize everything outside of that particular religion. So they make you feel that if you step out, you'd be like doing devil worship and stuff, right?
Right. And
so they
see,
got the spell that it's a spell. It's a literal spell that
yes,
people
it
are
is.
under. I remember my spell. There's nothing you could have told me when I was in to deter me. Nothing.
Nothing. I agree. Me either at that time, until that spell was lifted off me. And I thank the Most High and my righteous Bakulus of the light from choosing me and allowing my eyes to be open to see the truth and to dispel the lies.
Yes.
And to have true life, true peace. And so that's why I was asking them about darkness. Everything that has to do with darkness is associated with evil. When you look at Genesis in the first chapter, everything came out of the abyss, the darkness. I went to the black book.
You went to the black
Out of the melanin. You came out of the melanin.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Hebrew, black, Greek, white. So they had to make us look bad in every aspect.
It's called psychological manipulation, psychological programming. If you tell, y'all remember, y'all that took psychology 101 with Pavlov and the salivating dogs, and how he would feed them and ring the bell, feed them and ring the bell, feed them. Eventually, all he had to do was just ring the bell and they'll come running. They just salivate. That's why they call Pavlov and the salivating. They will salivate whenever they hear a bell, because they associated the bell with food. Psychological programming. That's what happened to our people. They think, Brother Dream Energy, you was talking about, if they walk out of religion, Muslim, Islam and Christianity and Catholicism and all these demonic, because it's demonic. They do demonic rituals in them. Some of it is our rituals, our spiritual rituals that they have taken and perverted. So they think, yeah, it is demonic, but they're demonic. Organized religion is from the dark world.
And this takes you right back to how Hashatani and how they said in scripture, we can't curse them.
Mm-hmm.
Get them to curse themselves.
Yes.
And that's what this religion and all of this, get them to continue to sin, stay in sin, and curse themselves.
Yes.
It's like what you just said, ringing a bell. They are running.
And they knew.
And it's funny you say that, because in training dogs, you keep doing the same repetition and doing the same thing now take the food away and give him the command, and he'll be right on point with it every time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
And they saw that we were spiritual people.
Yes.
To begin with.
Yes, they know who we are. They have our scrolls. They came over into Kemet. So I was reading in this, I think it was this book. I don't think it was an article. It was a book. And they were talking about how there was some disunity amongst our people. And Brother Energy, I'm reminded that you said before we started, I heard you, I wasn't here yet, but I heard you talk about how we have to set aside this tribalism.
Yes.
I'm this, I'm that, I'm Nigerian, I'm Congolese, and look at the fact that we're just all melanated people, all African people, and that we need to understand that. You go down deep enough, you're gonna find some common ancestry with all of us on the continent.
And again, do you want to be a part of a supported lie? I mean, these countries were created in the year 1884 and 85, right? At the Berlin Conference. They did not exist before that.
Yes. And the people was going up and down, mingling with one another. It's a tool that have been used to continue to perpetuate our state of demise, disunity. So in other words, we're not operating out of Ma'at and Ubuntu. And they know that these are the principles. And I was going to get into that, but while we're here, I'll just go ahead and say it and skip it when I get to it. When our ancestors operated under the principles of Ma'at and Ubuntu, they ruled. They were kings. They were queens. They were the what the kids, what they call it today. What's the word they using today? They was a bag and a chip and all of that. And it's a word that they use about that look good. I have to ask my young son now about it. But anyway, we were the rulers. They were coming to us to learn. They was coming to us to learn. And they, as I stated before, so we were honoring the principles of Ma'at. We were teaching the principles of Ma'at. We were living it out. We weren't going to no church on Sunday and talking about Ma'at and going back home and putting it down. No, it was incorporated in their everyday life. See, in church, they talk about holiness is a way of life, because I come from Pentecostal, but yet they don't live holiness, because it means that it encompasses how you eat, how you cook, everything. It's all a part of you. In the naming process of your children, it encompasses everything. Because when they were cooking, they were doing like the fufu. I think that it's about the creation. So everything that they did, the entire way of life of living and being, was surrounded by Ma'at and Ubuntu. They can't say that in these organized religion and Christianity and Islam and Judaism and all. They can't say that, because it doesn't happen. And so once we were They came and took over because there was some disunity amongst our people, is what the book was saying. So cousins and cousins fighting against one another for the rule of Kemet. And the people in the north with whether are the Indo-Europeans saw this, and it was gave them an upper edge to come in. So when there's division, the house cannot stand. We know this. So they were able to come in. So you had the Greeks come in, and then you had the Romans come in, and the Romans were worse. So the Romans, they took our scrolls and they started changing things up. And they forced our people to adhere to their way, because when you rule, you want people to adhere to what you are doing to bring about a sense of continuity, and you can have more control over people. That's the way America is set up. That's why they teach children. They don't do it anymore like they used to, because they have done what they wanted to do, and they don't have to do it. Just like the bell, you know, just ring the bell and it's done. So it's done. The Pledge of Allegiance and all this stuff, and the Star Spangled Banner and all this stuff, pledging your allegiance to a flag. What does that flag really mean to us? Come on, y'all. What does it mean to us? Why should I pledge allegiance to something that means bloodshed?
Yeah, that's all it means.
Bondage.
Bondage.
It means murder, rape, and violations of the worst to any humankind. That flag is death.
Yes. So, wow, this is deep. I didn't know it was gonna get this deep, but all right, moving along, you all. So it's a transition from the 3D to the 5D, and you all know about that. I know a lot of our people, that some of them that may be in Christianity listening to this may be saying, what in the world is she talking about? 3D and 5D, three-dimensional and 5-dimensional. 3-dimensional is where you at now. 5-dimensional is where we're going to, and it's where you need to be going to. So you need to make a change. It's a different level of dimensions of regarding your conscious level. Okay. It allows you to go within, as I stated, and not without. So you make the change with self first.
But I guess there should be a little breakdown, like you just can't go from 3D to 5D. You have to go through 4D. So 4D is where we actually are right now. 4D is where you'll find the third dimension being physical. 4D would be where the concept of dualities and the play out of the Anunnaki or that the shamanistic, all this implications of something that's greater than a physical. So where we are now is in the 4D, transitioning to 5D, where we're letting go of the constructs of the dualities. That has to happen first before you can even enter into 5D. You can't go there with the dual concept of what you know your creator to be. It is, and you can't go there holding concepts that are Anunnaki driven, that are driven mostly through feelings and emotions rather than truth.
And I didn't put 4D in there. I just did the 3D and the 5D, but it, you know, the literature that I was looking at and you're right, because I know this about the 3D, the 4D, the 5D. Even they have one that's the highest one is 7.
You know, like so I, you know, I've read and have looked into a lot over the years, and there's this woman who's from the Cherokee, I think her grandfather was. She was raised by him, and she was also, I think, a yoga teacher and a nutritionist or an acupuncturist or something like that. She started having visions in 1976. Her name is Barbara Hand Clow, and she's in her 90s now, but she did some phenomenal things. But she was getting downloaded through her people from the Palladians, and they described a 26-dimension portal system that they roughly chiseled down to 9 different dimensions. And so, you know, some 20 years ago, I became aware of that. So when I currently hear people speaking about the different dimensions without talking about that from whatever the core would be called in a round sphere, that we know is not the case for us, up to what is called the 9 or Toltec, that dimension, there are these that have been noted and understood by the Nakota and the Cherokee nations on the mainland. So and it's significant to understand them, because what's associated, like there's no potentiality for feelings to exist on a plane called a physical plane. Those emotions, those states of hierarchy and the feelings has to come from a place where as the dimensions are filtering down, the concept comes from. So feelings come from the fourth dimension, not the physical dimension. So light body comes from the fifth dimension. Your sacred geometry comes from the sixth dimension. And so these things play out in that way when we understand how these dimensions are associated. So 3 to 5D, it's interesting though, because as I hear the 3 and 5D, what I actually see is the play out of 4D. I see the stripping down of all these constructs that will make 5D available to us.
And see, that's where we're going. That's why I put from 3D to 5D, because right now in this realm with this state of heightened awareness, heightened consciousness, heightened awakening is leading to that. And if
I just for reference and for, because people who are out here who don't understand anything, who are fighting with religion, but they are talking 5D because it's on the internet, and people do that. But the basic, I guess the thing that the understanding for them has to be that you're passing through 4D. You're passing, like you have to acknowledge 4D. You just can't jump. So, and the acknowledgement in 4D is that you are stripping away the lies.
Yes, we are. And that is what this is about, talking about Ma'at, because Ma'at has to do with the truth. And so that is why we're saying you have to get out of organized religion, one of those things. That has to be one of the first steps if you're in there, because it's full of lies. And it keeps you in a very low vibrational state, and you can never, ever advance and go higher, remaining in such a low vibrational type of environment. Is no way possible. And if you don't, with the way the world is transitioning now, like I said, with this new heaven and earth is in this age of Aquarius that we're in, if you don't make it to the level where you're supposed to be, you're not going to make it.
You're not going to make it. Because the earth and nature is raising its vibration.
Yes.
Shifting, yes.
Shifting.
And resistance doesn't go forward.
Right.
So in the 5D, it's a heightened state of awareness, and we see that happening. Consciousness, spiritual evolution, higher spiritual level attained by meditating.
Light body energy, yes.
Yes, meditating. Embracing the principle. And these are some things that I do that I put in here myself. And there are some other things that other people may do, but these are things that I do to help me personally, Brenda, because I'm telling you, meditation has helped me a great deal, you all. It really has. It's helped me to self-reflect and to see the things that I, as an individual, need to work on myself, and taking more accountability and responsibility for myself when somebody angers me, not saying, well, they made me. No, Brenda, what happened to cause you to go to that level? You should be rising above that. So that's what is happening with me. What is causing you, Brenda, to allow yourself to be triggered by what this individual have said? So it's helping me to raise myself up, to embrace principles of justice, fairness, righteousness, order, balance, truth, unity, Ubuntu, raising our vibration, seeking truth, as we were just talking about, or have been talking about throughout the entirety of this teaching, this discussion rather. Grounding yourself. Get out there, get barefoot like we used to do down in the South as kids and on the continent, when they said that our ancestors were primitive for doing these things. And when our ancestors knew the scientific and spiritual reason around getting barefoot and connecting with mama again, now that they have learned that there are some physical benefits to it, it's no longer barbaric. It's no longer something that is considered negative now that they're doing it and they're teaching it. But as long as our ancestors was teaching it and we was doing it, it was deemed in a negative light. But our ancestors knew all of this already. So get yourself out there and get grounded in the earth. Take your shoes off, go sit down in the grass, and it's cold in some areas now. If you have cement, that cement is on ground, you can still use that to ground yourself there.
And hug a tree.
Yeah.
That's a powerful. When you let a tree's frequency like totally take over your body, you'll never want to let that tree go. Tree meditation is amazing. That's some good
And,
stuff too. When it's cold, you can go and hug a tree.
and then they wanted to make fun of that and call us tree huggers.
Call me that tree. I'll be loving my tree hugging all the time, baby.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
I just go up and lay on a tree like it's my mama's lap if I can.
I had my grandbabies hugging. They was out there hitting my trees with some sticks. I mean, just I said, y'all better stop hitting my tree. I said, now go hug that tree. Hitting that tree. Don't you? I said, you're destroying my trees. Look at it. And sunbathing, get out in the sun. The sun energizes us. It does not kill us. I used to tell my youngest son when he was little, the sun is our friend. The sun is not our enemy. The sun don't kill us. The sun does not destroy us. The sun energizes us. And if you look like me, it energizes you. In fact, you need it to synthesize that vitamin D that they say is linked to the majority of the diseases that we have. They lied and said that it was genetic. No, it has to do with us not getting that energy that we need.
You know, they corrupted the people, our people who came over through enslavement, to behave like them. I remember my mama cautioning me, my sister, all of us, our grandmother the same, because they were taught by the plantation owners to make them put on white, like cotton or linen when they were out there in the fields. And we were cautioned to, when we weren't working, just to keep ourselves covered from the sun as kids. And I remember that when that never happened. We always took off everything we could. That sun beam on our bodies, it just felt better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And eating more foods that have a higher frequency or a vibration, and that's what Mama Earth yield and give her children. You know, the Earth is a living entity. The Earth is a womb, and the Earth is that feminine energy. The Earth nurtures. The earth, she feeds. So the same thing that a mother does, the earth does. That's why we call it Mother Earth. So what Mother Earth yields forth, she's giving food to her children. We come from the Mother Earth. As they said, dust to dust, right? This physical body I'm talking about, it decomposes and go back to Mama, where we came from, right? The physical, the matter, it goes back to the natural first matter, Mother, and she feeds us. So, and we know that a lot of our people that have not transitioned fully are working on transitioning from these lower vibrational food. And we have to understand that when our ancestors did eat meat, there was a certain process that took place, and it was not what they're doing now, where they just had them living in inhumane conditions and just slaughtering them without any regards to their life. It was a certain method. They would have to ask permission for their life and tell them how their life was going to provide life to them. And it was a process. So think about these animals that are living in a condition that is not their natural habitat. Just think about if you're not living in your natural habitat. We're not in our natural environment. This is not our natural environment, and look at how we're acting. A lot of us, our people are on a low vibrational state because somebody said we're in an unnatural environment, and if we're in an unnatural environment, we will act naturally act unnaturally. And so they killing these animals in this unnatural, inhumane way. You got all these negative emotions, low vibration. You know, they are energy too. Remember, we did the teaching on Ntu? Ntu is in everything. So when you eat the animal, you're taking on their energy. Just because they're dead does not mean that their energy does not die. It does not change. You can't destroy energy. So you take on these animals' energy in us, and we wonder why we're so sick. I remember the doctor told me that my cholesterol had went up just a little bit, not enough to put me on no medication. And I told her, don't worry. I said, because I'm eliminating meat. My diet is changing. And you know what? It went down. So they tell you these things hereditary. No, it's based on what you put in your temple. They have lied.
You also take on the energy of anyone who had to do with the slaughter and the murder of those animals. Their attitude, you take on that too. They touch it, it's
transfer their energy.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Good point.
A lot going on when we behave like that.
It is. It is. So we're
So
just trying.
we're in transition, and the good news is it's all good for us. We just need to know that.
Yeah.
Like there's no bad news for us.
Oh no, it's not bad news for us. If you look like us, it's good news. What's happening? It's good
Right,
news.
right. This is the best. What is that book, the poet that used to say the best of times, the worst of times? It's going to be the best of times for us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The worst of
Because
times is
remember,
When you come out from hunger.
we're going back to the original divine order, the original divine plan. Okay, remember that. So if you know who you are and you know where you come from, you understand what that means. So these are actually exciting times for us as a people.
in the book of Enoch, like chapters 1 to about, I don't know, the third parable, chapter 2 to the third parable, it just really fills in a lot that you can't, it just be impossible to try and discuss it over this with the time that we have here. But check out the books of Enoch between chapter 10 and that third parable, and you'll get a clear understanding of what happens on this earth.
I got to go back. I read all of Enoch and I got to go back and reread it again because it's been about 2 years since I read all of it. And I was saying last week, brother, you need to go back and read that again. It has a lot. That book is packed.
It will answer all the questions that we need to have answered now in the now time. That book answers for us.
Yep.
No wonder they wanted to get it out.
Right. They didn't want you to know it.
Yeah, I started going back through it again after reading it. I just started going back again over it about 2 weeks ago, but this time I'm going really slow, writing down notes, using my markers and then taking deep notes because I feel like this is the book for me to focus on right now. That Bible, I just don't have an interest really in touching it much unless I deal with our messiahs. But other than that, it's just the more I read it, I can see their influence. I can see their writings now, and it's just
yes,
and because my brain, when I have to read even reading the Book of Enoch, I still have to cipher through but in my head, I've changed. Like I don't pronounce the vowels and the dents. I use the language that I use for myself. And I insert where Lord is. We like our Isikosa word for Lord is Samandla or Beowul. So we could use in the place of Lord either one of those names, Samandla or Beowul. So I just insert things to keep an African voice in my head more so than a European voice in my head when I'm reading.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? They read it.
And go ahead, Dream.
No, go ahead.
No, finish up and then I'll come. I thought you were finished.
I was just to say that I think Enoch is a book to focus on. I was just going to end it like that.
And I agree with you. I don't even know when the last time I picked up and read the Bible. When I do scriptures like these, they generally just come to me to show and prove what I've been proving. They just come to me.
No, it's funny to say that because I've been noticing the same thing with me. The same exact what y'all are saying. I've been noticing that with myself with the Bible.
Yeah, some people will say don't put it down because it does have some truth in it, and it does have some truth still in it. However, it's dangerous when you don't have the Most High and your ancestors letting you know what's true and what's not. And I'm sorry, in Christianity, they just don't have who the Creator really is. That's not who they're worshiping. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna be frank and honest with you. It's not. I know we still have family members that's in it, and I know some of my family members look at these videos and teachings that we do, but as sad as it is, when you look at the Bible and how it describes who they say God is not the creator of the universe, where it tells a group of people, go and slaughter, kill the children, kill the men, the women, and the animals. When my aunt says, I have not committed murder. So
exactly.
Make it make sense.
Then that same God in the Bible will work with lying spirits, send them to his own prophets.
Yes.
No, that's not who I know.
And if God tells you go take the land,
that's what I've just said. Kill them and take the land.
We don't do that.
No.
So ask yourself, who killed to get some land?
Uh,
Same
Ask
people who do
yourself
it
that
today.
question. Who
Same people who
killed
do.
to get land?
that's right.
It's the same people today who did it back then. They're the same.
They're the same.
Yeah, the same ones.
And what was that you all just said? That was talked about. Oh, it's something I was gonna make a comment. Well, it was one of them another moments, make sense moments. I think it was you or either Kongi that made the comment.
About the lying spirit.
The lion spirit. That's it. It was you. It says, and it said, send me. I will be a lion spirit and go and lie to him. But then it turns around and says that one, God hates lying.
That's lying.
And two, a liar would not tear in his sight. But then you supposedly got spirits or angels up there with him saying, I'm going to go be a liar. Make it make sense, people.
It's just craziness. And I'm like, and now when I very rarely do go into the Bible, immediately through the discernment, I'm like, oh, that ain't right.
That's
You
what
can
I'm
see it.
saying.
That ain't right.
But your eyes are open.
Yeah, yeah,
Your eyes
That-
are
and
open
that's
and you
what-
can see it.
yeah.
Mhm.
That's what makes reading it, less enjoyable. It's just they manipulated and lied a lot.
Yes.
All right, the new heaven and earth, the concept, we talked about this, so I can just swim on through this one here. The concept of Ma'at is coming forth. That's why we hear it more and more and more. Yeah, they told us that Ma'at is a demon. How can something that talks about fairness, righteousness, balance, order, truth? So you say that's demonic. I'd rather hear that than what you have then.
That's
End
right.
of the day.
Exactly.
I take my chances.
Exactly.
Thank you. Like the one brother said, they're not fighting the Most High. They're trying to kill him.
Right.
Right.
That's what's going on.
Mhm.
Can you make that make sense?
Woo. Mm.
But anyway, our ancestors, they, as I told you, they upheld Ma'at, and the kings actually in Kemet, they were the ones that were responsible for making sure that in the kingdom that Ma'at was upheld. So the next thing was what caused our fall? We know that there was a falling away of these sacred principles, and there's no need for us to talk about it because we have been talking about it throughout this whole discussion. How we have fallen away. Here it is. I put that in and said, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. That's what I do with my grandbabies. I want them to dance. And then the baby get to dance. But yes, we have fallen away from, these are the principles that uphold the universe. As a matter of fact, they was there. When you look at my aunt was there before the foundation of the earth, because Ma'at is truth. Ma'at is wisdom. The book of Proverbs talk about that. So Ma'at was there at the beginning, before the earth was formed, before you and I was formed. Justice, righteousness, fairness, truth, and wisdom was there. And it holds up the universe. It holds us up. These were given to our ancestors for us to, because we were given dominion over the earth. And because we no longer upheld these for whatever reasons, these principles, and allowed ourselves to begin to take on foreign ways that don't belong to us. Ever since we did that, we have been in a downtrodden, broken state, being called everything but a child of God, disrespected, hated, despised, and subjugated. Ever since we left these principles that they told us was demonic. Righteousness, fairness, justice, order, unity. How is that demonic? Who will tell you, or what will tell you principles such as that is demonic? It is surely not the creator, but they teach you this mess in Christianity.
It makes no sense when you understand truth.
Right.
So that's it, because we have been talking and discussing, unless somebody have something else that they want to say. The point is we have to return back
Yes.
It's time for us to return back to the ways that our ancestors walked in, of the light, that our ancestors, how they walked in. We have to walk in honesty, fairness, justice, Ubuntu. Come together. You know, in Western thinking, in their mindset, they operate out of individualism. We don't. But because we've been around them for so long, we have taken upon them their ways, and it's called our demise. We don't think like them. We don't act like them, you all. When we do, this is what's perpetuating our demise. Look at it. It's very simple. This is what's causing we don't operate like that. We have to make a change.
It'd be so cool to have had some video footage from like how we were in the 60s and 70s, because the 80s, man, everything that happened in the 80s is like what we see the result of those that are 40 or so or younger. They don't know what our culture people was like in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. But we were not at all. Before this television and these MTVs, we were a certain kind of a people. And now we're not the same. We're just not.
You're right, because we are a family-oriented people. We know that in Africa, it's like that. We have traces of our culture still in America. We haven't lost everything. We still have traces of it there. And it was family oriented. They said it takes a village to raise a child. That's how it was in our community, like he said, because I was born in the 60s. Okay. So I grew up in the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s. Okay. So I know what he's talking about. When somebody on the street will say, you do that, I'm going to whoop you, or they will whoop you. And then they tell your mama, your dad, and then you get another whooping.
You got it again.
Okay. When you was out of sugar, you didn't have to, I gotta run to the store like we do now, because we're in neighborhoods now. You go over there to Miss Susan May and tell her, give me a cup of sugar.
It was automatic. Eggs, flour, whatever you needed.
You see?
And something else I noticed about our people since we've been in religion, that heavy spirit of fear that operated. You know, the first thing I hear, I'm gonna wait on God. What? I'm gonna wait on the Lord. No, don't wait.
Oh, be careful.
Most High is waiting on you.
Oh, be careful with that. I wouldn't get too deep into that.
Right.
I'll leave that alone.
Well, I'm gonna piggyback off of that, and I'm gonna support you, my brother. They tell you to wait on the Most High, and this is what I ask my brothers and sisters that are still in organized religion. They say, I'm just waiting on God. He gonna make a way for me. In the very book that you say, or supposedly you read, it says that you were given dominion over the earth. It means that you have rule. You do. That's why it says you bring the kingdom of heaven into this realm. It ain't no waiting, it's doing.
And in Deuteronomy 28, it talks about, if you keep the covenant, the ibukans, like blessing is a word that be less. I don't use it, but ibukan is a word. And so ibukan, like when you'll be booking if you follow but if you don't, the consequences are, the opposite. So it's really just about staying true to the tenets of Tata and Zambe and Ma'at, and the empowerment, whether we were in punishment or not, would have been with us. We just didn't know that.
Reason why we are where we are right now, because each and every one of us was seeking out the truth. We didn't stop at nothing until he revealed it unto us.
That's that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's the reason why we are where we are right now.
Absolutely.
In spite of what we've went through, ups and downs, lows and highs, we're sticking with truth. In righteousness.
Yes.
And he's revealed it to us.
Yes,
he did.
And he looked at our consistency and he said, now I can trust you. Now I can reveal these things unto you. Now you have understanding of these things that I've shown
Mm.
you. And when you hear anything outside of that, it's like kryptonite in your ears. I don't want to hear it. It's wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like music now. Today's music. It's like as soon as you hear it, I'm just like, oh,
I know
turn
it.
it off.
Exactly.
I don't know
Oh,
what they listening to now, these kids.
I can't take it. I can't listen to it. Turn it off.
It's so you can tell that it's so demonic. It's like they don't even speak English. I remember my son, he was listening to it in the car, and I make him turn it too. Like I tell him, don't touch my radio in my car. This is my car. Don't you turn my music. But me and that zombie was like, and he was singing it, and we was like, what I to say. I went and I jump and I go and I say, elevate, big dog. I don't know how to say. All right. What, then another song come on. This time it was a white female trying to sing like that. What they was saying.
Even singing, not just rapping, but singing.
It's like
What?
it's putting you in a spell or trying to put you in a spell.
Yes.
But it's putting those who listen to that constantly day in and day out, just like the regular radio stations. All that garbage, they be like, no, I can't listen to none. I'd rather listen to nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Or a talk show than to listen to that crap.
I do that.
So I mean,
that's what they doing, Nigel.
That's exactly what they're doing, smoking weed to understand the words.
Yeah, you smell that up and down the highway. And you in your vehicle.
You know, and so I thought one day, it just hit me. I said, man, when I was in religion, I was waiting on the Lord. But now, because I am a God created in his image, I can create my own reality.
You create your own reality.
Be it negative. Be it negative or positive.
I create my own reality.
Yes.
And Elder, that's what I'm working on, because they have conditioned us so to think so low vibration of such negative things. Like in the Bible, they have God hate Jacob or God hates a lot. Yeah. The Most High doesn't hate. That's a low frequency. Mm-hmm. What you say is the Most High is love. You think the positive, but they got us thinking and saying negative. So we have to shift the way we think, and it's a process. Like Brother Dream Energy was saying, you don't just get there. That's why I meditate, and when I meditate, that's one thing I say to self in my meditation. I breathe in positive thoughts of love, thoughts of joy, thoughts of purity, and I exhale all the negativity. I exhale negative thoughts. Just exhale it out. They just breathe it. And I do this to help myself. And like I said, I'm at a point now where I'm trying to help Brenda.
That's right.
Brenda needs help.
Yeah, darn do too.
So I'm helping Brenda so that I can elevate Brenda, you all. So I'm on a different part of my life now. It's all about reflecting, going inwardly to elevate yourself. And I remember about maybe 2-3 years ago, I had a dream. It's always male, generally it's male. So I had one that was a female one time that came to help me do something, but it was some water that was coming. We know that water cleanses too, but this water that was coming apparently was not water that I needed to be in for whatever reason. And these men were telling me I need to come higher. They were saying it was 2 of them on each side. And they were helping me to climb up and go higher. So apparently this water that was coming was something that was going to be destructive, and it was elevating me so that I would not be in harm's way of the destruction that was coming. And I remember going up, I went up, I think like 2 or 3 levels in this dream. So somebody was trying to say something before I started. Was that you, Brother Energy, or either was
Yeah, but it kept going, the thought. No, it'll come back.
it'll come back. It'll come back. Well, family, I'm done. I hope this helps somebody, you know. If it helps one somebody, then I've done my part. You
Awesome.
know, we've done our part because we all contributed to this here discussion that we had. It was a great discussion. Like I said, discussion like these need to take place amongst our community.
You know, I'd like to add just one more thing too about what was being said here, the new heaven and new earth. You know, in church, as we said earlier, we were taught that, you know, it was going to burn up, you know, and a new one was going to be created. When you look at this burning and this fire, the fire is actually a cleansing process.
Mhm.
It is purging. And when you look at the Bible, there's a scripture in there that says that we will go through the fire and be tried and come out as pure gold. Okay. So it's not a literal fire that we will be going through, but it is a cleansing process. It is a
Spiritual.
purging. It is spiritual that we are going through. So when we look at where we are now, we are literally going through that process. Okay, we are being awakened. We're awakened. We are learning more. We're being taught more. Knowledge is increasing. Our spirituality is returning to us. DNA is awakening. We're going through that cleansing, that purging process, that fire, and we will come out as pure gold. We will. And someone had mentioned earlier too about us awakening. It was a conversation that I had with Nkosi Kangi a couple days ago. You know, the Bible speaks about where the Most High said to the four angels that was holding the wind back, said, before you allow the wind to blow on the earth, he sent an angel to put a mark on his people and was saying, don't touch them. And Nkosi asked me, he said, do you believe that that mark, you know, we will have
color?
or something along that line? And I said to him, I said, go ahead, Nkosi.
Yeah, it was the seal, right? The seal of the Most High.
Yes. And I said to him, I said, we have it. We have it. We had it already. And to back up what you were saying, we, looking at where we are, looking at our hearts, looking at the love that we have for the children of Tata and Zambi, our brothers and sisters, looking at the things that we want to do, learning more, we have been sealed. We have been predestinated. We have been chosen. We have been handpicked for this time.
Yes.
And it is our job, our duty to enlighten our brothers and sisters, to open their eyes, get them to see. All we can do is present it to them.
Mm-hmm.
They are the ones that have to receive it, hear it, receive it, and walk in it.
Mm-hmm.
We can't make them. All we can do is present it. Wasn't it something that was said in Nkosi Kangi about light beings?
Light workers.
Light workers. Hello.
Yes.
I talked about Lucifer a couple teachings ago. Lucifer. The church have said Lucifer is a devil. Lucifer is a light bringer.
Yes.
Lucifer is a star. It's not an individual. It's not a spirit. It's not a devil. It's a light bringer, a presenter of light. So there
Any of
are
us could be that.
light bearers.
We are. We're light work. And what's the other word they use? Star seeds.
Yes.
We are the light workers.
You better stop looking at
Oh,
this stuff and calling it demonic. Go ahead, my
so
brother.
yes, Brenda, I did recall. Well, it came back. So you had mentioned that right now Mama Brenda's working on herself, and so I was just going to compliment that by saying it's actually the facet of the cosmos right now. That's what the Aquarian age represents. It's a self-building, that self-sufficient energetics that play out. So this is what the conditions of the cosmos, our planet, is under now. So we all should actually be in that place where we're refining ourselves.
Yes.
I just want to do better and be better. That's just where I am. I just want to do better and be better, you know. And it's not about out of fear. Like in Christianity, I must admit that, you know, I did things and initially out of fear of what they was telling us, you know, being young and here, you're going to hell, you're going to burn forever. Worms going to be eating your body. Baby, and then you won't have no mercy. You won't have no reason to quench your thirst. Do you hear me?
You probably go back to school and have to come back around again to get it right.
So it's not out of fear. It's just that this is just something.
It's in your spirit.
Yes, I guess that's the best. Yes.
Right. To know better is to do better.
Yeah, you go.
That's what it is.
Now,
For those of us who are light beings, the light workers, it's a symbiotic response to what is, and synergistic response to what is occurring in the cosmos. It's just what the planet is yielding. People would like the Piscean age is over. That Piscean age, like I'm quadruple Pisces, right? Most astrologers can't even read my chart. They've never read anyone with 4 different aspects of Pisces before. So, you know, when you look at the cosmos in itself, and you see the Piscean age, you had 2 fish that were swimming in opposite directions of each other. We had a 2,000-year period where the knowledge was given to us, with there not being any concern for the conditions of other people except for just gaining knowledge. Now we're in Aquarius. That's the age where that knowledge now becomes the singularity happens now. The division, the duality plays into a singularity. The unfortunate aspect, or the unfortunate part of the experience, the duality that the 2,000-year cycle could have afforded us was one and integration. However, that 2,000-year period was held in separation. So everything we learned in duality was separating us. Now we get to bring it together.
Right. And that's because also you see who was ruling that perpetuated that as well. And then also what's represented when you look at the astrological signs that represent during this age of Aquarius is a female that's holding the water, pouring the water, right?
Yep.
And water is life. Water gives life. So that represents also the feminine energy that is, we see that is rising up again, because that's what has called part of that disorder as well. You had a very masculine society, and it was ruling here, and it was suppressing the feminine energy, and it has to be a balance. And remember, we talked about my aunt is about balance. My aunt is about order. So they suppressed the female, had the masculine here, very patriarchal society. White people as a whole, they had no respect for their females. They treated them like they were slaves. So it was not like this in our culture, but because we have been around them for so long, you see that our males are disrespecting the females. Now it is the female that gives life. The woman didn't come from no man. Man come from woman. As above, so below, as within, so without. So you came from a female. It is a female that nurtures you and gives you life. So better respect that. Better respect that. And so that's why we have. I'm sorry.
And protect her.
Right.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely.
And so what you see is that change in that feminine energy is coming back to bring back that order, to bring back ma'at. So feminine energy is rising so that there could be a balance between the two, because it's out of order.
Right.
That's right. And the highest priest were females. The high priestess were females.
They grew the food. They did. It was a female.
As a
We were
matter of
just,
fact, when you go back deep enough and you look at this, they said that they are, and this is not just in Africa, all the indigenous, which we are the indigenous people of the world anyway, because our people were the first people here thousands and thousands and thousands of years that went around the world. That's why everywhere you go, you see melanated people. And like they say, the deeper they dig, the blacker it gets.
It gets. They can't get away from it.
You can't run away from it. You can't run away. Chat GPT be trying to run away from me. No, like Dream Energy said, I'm gonna make you see this truth.
I'm gonna call you the chat wrangler. The chat GHT, whatever it is, wrangler. You reeling
Yeah.
that thing in.
And apologizing and telling me which one would you like to see me to input into the system for correction? Neither one of them, because they still alive. Neither.
You're gonna break the system. I like it.
Well, so be it. If I break it, so be it. Hey, what you say, Kanye, we're light bringers, and also we're the messiahs of our family, right?
Yes.
We're the messiahs of our family. They may
That's
not want to
right.
believe it, accept it, but we are the messiahs. Then they said that, who was that? That was in Congo. Why his name escaped me? And we heard his name for so much.
Bongo.
Huh?
Bongo.
In Congo? Was it in Congo? Patrice Lumumba?
No, not Patrice. No. The prophet that said that many more like me are coming and you won't be able to stop them. Simone Toko.
Simone
His
Toko.
name had escaped me. We are the ones that he talked about.
That's right.
It's us.
It's us.
You know, I was talking to the we get ready to end it, and we're gonna talk after we finish, because we're finished with the teacher, so we don't want to make it too long. So we hope this encouraged some, enlightened some, maybe even lead people to even start searching for the truth and going within, because the truth is within you. So Aaron, where is it at?
It's should be at top, just hit the solid square.